Here are some tips and tricks to help you make up your doll's wardrobe kits. You will need your kit, some pins, a pair of sharp scissors and some clear nail varnish if you have any. There is a key printed on your fabric panel to show you what all the markings printed on your doll's clothes mean. So first, cut out a garment to make. Here is the dress. Cut along the outer edge, cut out a hole for the head and cut along the dotted line for the back opening. It's a nice idea if you do have any clear nail varnish to very lightly paint the neckline and the hem edges to stop them fraying. Protect your work surface though with a bit of old newspaper and let your dress dry. Fold the dress in half with the printed sides facing. Match the notches and align the cut edges so they are exactly on top of each other, and pin both layers of fabric together. Now to thread your needle. You will need to cut a length of thread about 80 centimeters long, or the length of your arm. Thread one end through the eye of your needle and tie a double knot at that end. To tie a knot, you make a loop, pass one thread end through and pull to tighten. To make a double knot, tie two knots one on top of the other and trim off the thread end close to your knot and leave the other end of your thread hanging loose. Make sure this end isn't too close to the eye of the needle. Pull it through at least 15 centimeters or so. Now to sew your seams with a running stitch. Starting at one end, there is a broken line which shows you where to sew. Poke your needle up through both layers of fabric and gently pull till the knot catches. Then poke it down again about half a centimeter along and you've made your first stitch. Sew another stitch on top of your first one. So poke your needle back up in the same place you started sewing and down again exactly on top. At the beginning and end of a seam you should sew a double stitch like this. Then, keeping your stitches about half a centimetre long and very close together, sew along your stitch line to the end. Try and keep your stitches nice and even and keep within the dotted seam line. Poke your needle up through both layers and back down again. Up and down, all the way along. Finish with a double stitch and knot your thread twice, flat to your fabric. You can do this by making your loop close to your sewing, and when you pass your needle through the loop, put a finger over the knot as you pull the needle, and this keeps the knot in place. I sometimes do this 2 or 3 times to make sure my knot is big enough to hold my thread securely. Now turn your garment out to the printed side. It's ready for some poppers. There are 2 different parts of a popper which snap together. Make sure you place the poppers the right way round and on the right side of your fabric so they can close properly. To sew poppers on, you poke your needle up through the fabric and a hole in your popper until the knot catches. Then you poke the needle back down through the fabric only, just next to the popper. Careful not to prick yourself with a needle. You can do a few stitches like this for each hole in the popper. Now poke your needle up through the fabric and the next popper hole and carry on till there is a stitch through each hole. Make sure you knot your thread securely at the back of your sewing so it doesn't show at the front, and trim off the thread ends. And then sew on your other popper in the same way. Et voilà, très chic. All the doll's clothes are folded with the printed sides facing. There are notches to match up when you fold them, and remember to keep the cut edges lined up. Pin together and then sew the seams. The broken lines show you where to sew. It's so cool you are learning to sew, and remember, learning a new skill can take practice, so keep going. Maybe you will be making your own wardrobe next.